Assembly of Lake County, Lake County Young Republicans, the State Line Rifle Association, the Lake County Tea Party, the 912 Patriots, the Northern Illinois Patriots, the Illinois Minuteman Project, and Americans for Prosperity. I'd like to welcome you to the second Values Alliance breakfast. I would like to recognize some of the folks we've got here today. For the Joe Walsh for Congress campaign, we have Joe's wife, Aline Walsh, is here. I see Dan Shugru has just arrived. He's running for state representative. You met Pastor Rich Valkanet earlier. We also have Pastor Glenn Stewart from the Agape Christian Fellowship in Zion. We have Lake County Republican Chairman Bob Cook is here today. From the RALC, we have their Chairman and Secretary, Ray and Doreen True. We have Michael Carbone. Michael is a school board member in the Grays Lake School District. He's also Vice President of the Young Republicans, and he's on the Lake County Tea Party Board. We have John Nichols from the State Line Rifle Association. Tom Weber is here from the 912 Patriots. Tony Raymond from the Northern Illinois Patriots. John Logan is here from the Freedom Riders organization. We have Paul Kenny from Americans for Prosperity. The Values Alliance breakfast was conceived by me and by Bonnie Quirk following the primary election, when, having lost my bid for public office, I thought, what can we do to try to advance conservative values and elect conservative candidates? And so the first thing I thought was, well, we could start a group. Well, as you can see from the flyer, the last thing I think Lake County needs is a new conservative group. We've got a whole list of great ones already. And so competition for more conservative members didn't seem like the way to advance conservative values. So what I thought to do instead was to create opportunities for members of all these organizations to come together, meet each other in an informal setting, maybe hear some inspiring speakers, and build new relationships. And so that's what I hope this event is providing the opportunity for. It's also providing the opportunity to bring new people who haven't been part of any of these groups in and let them mingle with some of these folks and find out what it's all about. So with that said, I made a speech at the last one. I'm going to pass on that this time. But as I mentioned before, I was very sorry to announce that Andrzejewski called me this morning and he was not able to get through the weather. He started out from Hinsdale and encountered flooding in Elmhurst and just could not get past it. He tried to get on the highway, and all the on-ramps were shut down there. So nobody from there is coming north this morning. However, Pastor Rich has agreed to say a few words, and he's always a great one to hear. So Pastor Rich, we're going to turn it over to you.
Good morning. I want to thank you for this opportunity, even though it's instant in season. I want to say thank you to Paul. I think we can always use more conservative organizations, and I think the beauty of it is we're all here together and we're all getting along. And if that isn't a miracle, that people of different walks of life and maybe some different focuses, Rifle Association, 912, but we can all be together because we have a common cause, and that is about getting our country back on track. And I think it's a beautiful sign that God is in this because people are getting along. Jesus said, "By this shall all men know that you're my disciples, that you love one another." And there's a genuine love at all these organizations that I have visited, all the rallies I've been to. There seems to be this genuine commonality. Everyone's getting along. Everyone's smiling. Boy, isn't that a unique thing, right? Well, a few months ago, I was invited to a young man's wedding who interned with us, and it was down at Grant Park, and they had it outside. It was going to be one of these beautiful little outdoor weddings, and so my wife and I go. There was a picnic wedding, so we dressed casual, and we show up there, and we're visiting with different people and friends that we met there, And about 5 minutes before the wedding starts, he comes running up to me. He said, listen, he said, the person who's supposed to do the wedding is stuck in traffic in Schaumburg. So I've got a plaid shirt on and and I spot one of these kind of 20-something young people with this kind of black yuppie kind of scroll work sport coat, and I said, can I borrow that sport coat? And I put her over this plaid shirt, didn't look good. My wife said, the shirt's got to go. So the shirt goes, I got a red t-shirt underneath, so I got this red t-shirt and a black sport coat. And I wrote this, she wrote it out, and she had 7 blessings, each of them in Hebrew and then English translation. Well, my Hebrew's really rusty. But praise God, we got through that wedding, and I'll never forget, instant in season. And the Bible tells us to do that, be instant in season and out of season. We are called to be that to the world. And how many times that spontaneity, that serendipitous attitude just happens spontaneously, someone gets up and does something. That's what heroism is about. Is our heroes made or our heroes born? It's a big philosophical issue. But I kind of believe a little of both. I believe there's character inside that is building and growing, and when an opportunity comes, any one of us can and would do something heroic for someone else. Pull someone out of a burning car, be there at a car accident or some tragedy, or there to do CPR on someone. And that desire to do something greater than yourself, to exceed expectations, and to be instant in season. So one thing, I want to have the character inside of my life, that should the day come that I'm ready to make a sacrifice. And we're living in a world where that kind of sacrifice is needed, and it's needed by common men. And if you study our history, you find out that these were common men, but they were called to do an uncommon job. They were ordinary men who were called to do something extraordinary. And you look at the sacrifice that our 56 signers made, and many other of our founding fathers, and all through the years, from the battles, the wars, always sacrificed common men, rising above expectations, doing things that no one expected them to do, but they did it. And being that instant in season, as you know, today we're in a great culture war. I don't know what's worse, watching a horror movie or turning on the news. It's pretty scary. I don't know about you, but I keep saying, it pinched me. Is this real? I don't know if you saw the latest in the string of horror acts coming along on our news, but the McCain-Lieberman Enemy Belligerent Act. Has anyone ever seen that? No, you haven't. I encourage you to Google it. I just gave Paul a copy of it. It's only about 12 pages long, but it's enough to send chills down anyone. It basically says that our president can determine if anyone is an enemy belligerent, and it mentions foreign countries, but then it also says here in the United States, that someone in the president's office can arbitrarily decide that someone is a terrorist, and with no evidence, no witnesses, and no trial, and no judge, they can arrest you, and they can actually imprison you without cause and not even allowing anyone to know where you're at, and they can even assassinate you according to the law. So, does that ruin anybody's breakfast? It's ruining mine. And I don't know if you've heard, there's kind of the word on the street. I always wonder what the word on the street is, but some are talking about an October surprise. Has anyone heard that phrase? October surprise. And everyone knows, and despite what Robert Gibbs might say, or anyone else, Pelosi, the Democrats are in big trouble, and I don't say Democrats, I mean the liberals are in trouble. This progressive liberal agenda is in big trouble, and people are going to vote strongly, even independents, even Democrats, Republicans are going to vote strongly for the conservative side. They're looking for candidates. Was it in North Carolina, this one candidate, one who didn't even campaign? Yeah. What does that say? What is that telling us? Telling us there's going to be a great backlash. However, if there was an event, an October surprise of some kind,